This call is now being recorded.
So let's start it.
So good morning again. How are you doing?
We are fine.
Hear me? You see me? You see the presentation? You see the slides?
Yes. All right.
Good. So let's start. So our session today is going to be about how to deliver a presentation. So you know that delivering a presentation is something very essential at the level of the university. You are now university students, so you have to know how to present in class presentations appropriately. So in today's session, we are going to see how to deliver a presentation in class without having fear of your classmates. I mean, you have to be confident. Now, giving a
Okay.
presentation and speaking in front of your peers, of course, can be a stressful experience. But there are ways to project confidence, okay,
Yes.
and authority, even when you are nervous. It is normal to get tense before a presentation, but of course you don't know. You don't want to project that tension to your audience. If you use confidence, secure body language, project your voice, and you prepare for very well for the presentation in advance, you will feel like a confident expert speaker. So the introduction is the most important part of presentation. So it's the first impression you'll make on your audience. It's your first opportunity to get their attention. So you want them to trust you and listen to you right away. However, of course, the first moment when you start to speak is often the hardest. So knowing how to best prepare and knowing what to say will help you feel confident and ready to say that first word and start your presentation. Can you just please mute yourself? So there is some noise. I want all the students please to mute themselves.
So much. So
Turn off the mics, please. Turn off. Zakaria, please turn off the mic. Thank you. So now we have to know the steps of presenting a good presentation. So the first step is that you should give a confident introduction. What do we mean by a confident introduction? Is that you have to make sure to introduce yourself. Try to keep it relatively short and always remember that they are not here to listen to your entire life story. A brief introduction is always more powerful and memorable than a lengthy speech. You have to be short at the beginning of the introduction when you when you introduce yourself. The sooner you get to the material they are looking for, the happier they will be. Without confidence, of course, you will find it very hard to bring your audience along with you. If it looks like you are nervous or like you don't believe in what you are saying, then there is no reason for your listeners to believe in it either. It doesn't matter if you are nervous. Everyone is nervous at times. But the important thing is that you don't show it. You have to stand still, keep your hands at your side, and deliver a confident speech. So something which is important to show that you are confident and having self-confidence is good posture. So you have to, good posture conveys to the audience that you are confident, credible, and sure of your subject. Speaking with proper posture also allows you to project your voice, making your speech clear and assertive. So posture is something which is essential. So you have to stand still, okay? So that the audience will guarantee and will feel that you already have self-confidence in yourself. Another thing which is important is that the use of hand gestures while giving a presentation. So avoid keeping your arms in a rigid position by your side. Keep your open arms while you're speaking. Pointing toward the sky can assert an opinion or a fact, while opening your hands can show trustworthiness and inspire the audience. So when coming to the cracks of an argument or the summary of your research, point upward with your index finger to assert your authority, and then you appear confident in your conclusion. Of course, you shouldn't cross your arms during a presentation like that. Don't cross your arms during a presentation. While of course this may be a comfortable position, but you may be projecting negative cues to your audience. So this closed off position may make you seem inexperienced, uninterested, or nervous. So this is the first point, is that you should give a confident introduction by having good posture, using the body language, use your hands appropriately. Now we have to move to another point, which is deliver your hook. Here it is. Deliver your hook. So what is a hook? A hook is the part of your presentation that compels an audience to sit up and pay attention. It should tell them why they need what you want to give them. So every presentation has three main parts: the beginning, the middle, and the end, of course. And among these, the beginning is easily the most important. So you have only about 30 seconds to get the audience interested in what you have to say. If it doesn't happen, anything else you do afterwards will soon be forgotten. So to do that, it helps to have a hook to grab their attention. So the hook in a presentation is something that grabs your audience's attention. You make them want to hear more and aims to make the subject matter or product of particular or personal interest to them. So it's a way to make an emotional connection. Another crucial part of introducing yourself before a presentation is to summarize the aim of your speech. Okay? Summarizing the aim of your speech is something which is very important during a presentation. Of course, most of the time your audience will already be aware of your topic, but it's always a good idea to make sure it's clear to everyone. So a simple one-line statement is enough, but you have to be as specific as you can. So while planning your presentation, it's important to find the answer to the question, why am I presenting? Okay, I'm sorry, I'll just arrange the slides one more time. Okay. So it's vital to be clear about our purpose, as it becomes the basis for our content. Expressing the purpose of our speech or presentation in one sentence or writing down a statement of purpose provides clarity. So delivering the hook is something which is important at the beginning of the presentation. After you introduce yourself, you have to deliver the hook. The hook should be very short. It means a sentence that will attract the attention of the audience to make them focus during the rest of the presentation. Now we will move to introduce your agenda. Now, introducing the agenda, the agenda, of course, states the takeaways that your audience should remember and use after listening to your presentation. So an agenda simply lists the topics that will be covered in the presentation. The audience may deduct from the agenda the value of the presentation. So from the very beginning, you have to be clear about the things that you are going to cover during the presentation, the points that you will highlight, the main ideas that you will discuss in the presentation, so that the audience will have a clear idea about the procedure of the presentation. So when you have a clear agenda, you not only tell the audience what your presentation is about, but also you have to tell them how you will cover the topics. An agenda helps your audience to orient their thoughts at the opening. Use a slide or using a slide to give an overview of the key takeaways from your presentations. Don't just read the list off. Instead, tell them how many points you are going to make and summarize the overall goal of the presentation. So the first thing to say on this is an agenda is not the same as the hook. No, you have to make a difference between the agenda and the hook. So a hook gives the audience a reason to listen. It tells them explicitly why the content is of value. An agenda simply lists the topics that will be covered in the presentation. The audience may deduct from the agenda the value, of course, of the presentation. The problem with the traditional agenda slide is it is long and boring to get through. For the presenter can give the audience an option to decide not to listen at certain points, if at all. So if you want people to know what's coming up once you have hooked them up, instead of giving them a full topic list, give them an overview of what is going to be covered to keep them interested, or tell them what value they will walk away with at the end. So always remember to include only the most important sections of the presentations in your agenda slide. Now the next point is, let me move to the next slide. Yeah. So the next point is give a credible statement. Now, the credibility statement establishes your qualifications as a speaker. You should come up with reasons why you are someone to listen to on this topic. Why do you have a special knowledge or understanding of this topic? What can the audience learn from you that they couldn't learn from someone else? So credibility statements can refer to your extensive research on a topic, your lifelong interest in an issue, I'm still accepting, let me accept. So I was saying that credibility statements can refer to your extensive research on a topic, your desire to do better in the lives of your listeners. Okay, so you should have a full knowledge of what you are going to discuss during the presentation, so that the audience are going to believe what you are saying. So this is what we mean by credibility. You can give relevant data, statistics to support your message. So reinforce your statements by smart use of data or statistics. Do this within the first couple of minutes of your presentation so that you can gain the trust of your audience. It's important to do this very early because research shows that audiences are likely to lose interest if they aren't convinced of the speaker's credibility within the first few minutes. So now, these are the first four things to take into consideration when you start your presentation. So let me recap. Number one, give a confident introduction. Number two, deliver your hook. Number three, introduce your agenda. And number four, give a credible statement. These steps are very essential at the beginning of the presentation, and they don't take much time. Okay, just few minutes at the beginning of the presentation, just with the aim of attracting the audience's attention at the beginning of the presentation. Now we will move to the next steps. So we've talked about the opening of the presentation. Now we will move to we have here 13 tips, okay? How to make a killer presentation. So number one, be your own stage manager. So what do we mean by that? First, you have to check out ahead of time where you will be presenting. Find out about the setup. Make sure you have tested all your appliances. Of course, before starting the presentation, if you can check out the room where you will be presenting ahead of time. For example, you are going to present, of course, at this level, you are going to present in class. So you have to check the class, okay, the setting before presenting. Make sure that all the equipment you need is there and works, so that there are no nasty last-minute surprises. You know that surprises will happen at the day of your presentation, and then you will be stressful. No, we shouldn't come into this. You have to for example, walk around the stage area until you feel more familiar and comfortable with the environment. Take your set of notes with you and check that you can read them in the lighting conditions in the room. Make sure you know where things like plug sockets, like light switches are if you are using your own equipment. so that when you arrive, you won't be rushing around at the last minute to find things you need. Now, this is the first idea, is that, as I said, you should have a clear idea about about the setting, the venue where you are going to present, in order not to be surprised, in order not to have any problem at the day of the presentation. The next tip is that a good presentation contains only the necessary information. So it has one main point, and everything is structured around that point. It doesn't rely heavily upon PowerPoints or slides filled with text, and it allows time for discussion and asking questions. So a good presentations, you have to stick to the topic you have prepared beforehand, rather than straying too far off the topic. You have one topic, you have to focus on what you are on your topic, okay? Don't change topic. When you are planning your presentation, write a list. It would be better to write a list of the main points you want to make, and ask yourself, what am I telling the audience? What should they understand from this? So refining your answer this way will help you produce clear messages. So the main point should be addressed addressed one by one, with supporting evidence and examples, okay? So the presentation shouldn't be long. It should include only the necessary information, very clear and to the point, and don't change your topic, okay? Just stay focused. Now we have to move to another tip, which is the use of technology. Now, a great presentation that is both effective and engaging must use visual storytelling in order to capture your audience's attention. Research has proven that visuals are recalled 6 times better than words alone. Now, of course, the use of technology is very necessary now. We cannot deliver a presentation without the use of technology. So the use of PowerPoint slides is a wise choice for many presenters. Technology has always helped presentations to be more enticing. PowerPoint slides help organize the thinking and presentation of many presenters, and make it easier for students to take notes and track the instructor thinking. Not only does it make it easy for the lecturer, but it also improves the quality of comprehension and assimilation on part of the audience. So technological improvements such as PowerPoint presentation are largely beneficial. A presenter with a computer can easily incorporate film and audio, professional quality charts, and images into the presentation. These elements should aid the audience's understanding of the topic and help them engage with and remember the material more effectively. Quality presentation softwares pulls together all of these elements with an attractive background. So if the presentation is well designed and factual, the visuals and background can improve the presenter's credibility with the audience. So I hope these ideas are clear so far. Are you following me? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Now let's move to another tip. And by the way, you have to take notes. If you have a copybook, okay, next to you, you have to take notes. And if you have any question, if anything is not clear, leave it at the end and write it in the chat box. Now let's move to the use of humor during a presentation. So humor is a powerful communication tool. It can also relieve tension, motivate an audience, and enhance your reputation if it is used, of course, appropriately. Humorous quotes work well, especially during your introduction. Now, of course, there are so many benefits of using humor. So a speaker who uses humor well comes across as more human, more likable. This puts an audience at ease and makes people more receptive to your ideas. Actually, humor creates a bond with the audience. It can also provide emotional relief for the audience. So many talks are very serious and emotionally challenging for an audience. So if you place humor, if you use it appropriately, it can give the audience much needed relief rather than being serious all the time. But of course, you have to be careful during use if you want to use humor. You are not going to tell jokes, of course, but just to try to create some funny moments so that the audience will be relieved, will not going to be bored, especially if you are talking about a serious topic. And what is important is that humor helps the audience remember your points. This is very important because laughter has been shown to improve memory and cognitive function. So this helps the audience remember your ideas. And I think you may agree with me that we all of us have memories. We still have memories of our teachers who used to teach us during secondary, high school, etc., who used to have the habit of using humor in class. We still remember them, we remember the incidents, and sometimes we can remember even the lesson that the teacher used to deliver at that moment. So it helps the audience remember your points. And it leaves the audience with a good impression, okay? Good impression. They will like you. Whatever you say, it will be clear to them. Now let's move to number 5, which is practice. Practice in your presentation, yes. What makes a good presentation is practice. Okay, it's just like sports. You have to repeatedly practice your presentation to improve it. Thinking that you know enough about the topic to just stand up in front of your audience and go is a total myth. No. Confidence is essential, yes, but too much confidence may harm you sometimes. The key to successful presentation is practice. So practicing your presentation is essential. And one of the important things you have to consider is that you have to time yourself. Timing is crucial in presentation. Now you have to set up a goal of the amount of time that you think is appropriate for your audience. Then refine your talk accordingly. The more comfortable you are with your time, the more flexible you can be as you give your presentations. So timing, if your presentation is 10 minutes, you have to work on it at home, okay? You have to time yourself so that you are not going to exceed the 10 minutes, okay? So if you manage your time, you will feel comfortable, okay, during the presentation. Another thing which is essential is that you have to record yourself at home. By hearing and seeing yourself, you can judge the inflection, the speed, the enunciation of your voice. So you always want to put yourself in your audience's position. Seeing and hearing yourself as they would see you. It's not so much about perfecting your orating skills, although that is important, of course. But it's about showing your personality through your words. So in order to come across original and confidence, you want to show your true character and that you are comfortable in your speech. It comes down to carefully observing yourself and constructively criticizing the elements of your speech. So you've got to take the time to truly grade yourself before you can expect to deliver a solid presentation. So practicing is very essential because it will help you to see the negative side of your presentation. And of course, you can fix any problem at home before presenting. So this is these are the main objectives of practicing. Now, another thing is that you have to be authentic. You should believe in what you are saying. Many presentations are technically proficient, but lack heart. If you are not genuine, there will be a huge gap between you and your listeners. So authenticity is about making the listeners see what it is that you see and feel what you feel. In many ways, authentic communication is something that can come automatically. Often, if you are speaking about a topic you are passionate about, your body will engage, your eyes will brighten, and your voice will be powered by your breath. So you have to believe in what you are saying so that the audience will believe you. Now, let's move to number 7. You have to be more dynamic. So stand instead of sit. If you are talking about something big, make a balloon shape with your arms. Describing a surprise. Clap your hands loudly, talking about a big step. Take a big step. Use drama. It killed me versus it was disappointed. So here, to keep your audience engaged, it is vital to vary the pitch, the pace, the tone, and the volume of your voice. If you use the same tone throughout the presentation, the audience will never come to know what is important. Therefore, it's very essential to modulate your voice, lay emphasis on keywords, and use dramatic pauses. So keep in mind that your vocal delivery will enhance the narrative. Another way to appear more enthusiastic on the stage is through the use of stance and posture. Try to stand up straight, maintaining a good posture with the chest out and shoulders back and down. This will encourage you to use your hands more. And by maintaining a strong stance and posture, you can be sure that your energy levels would not drop. So you have to be dynamic on stage. You have to stand still so that your presentation will be good. Now let's move to number 8. You have to know your audience. Now the presenter should do an analysis of the audience and determine the best way to present to them. The delivery and the content should be specific and relevant to them. To connect with your audience, you need to understand why your topic is important to them. What do they expect to learn from the presentation? Don't assume the audience is like you. No. They may have cultural or geographical background, different geographical, cultural background. And the more you understand them, the better you can express yourself to them. It's also important to know the level of knowledge they have about your topic, so you can present the information with the correct tone to keep people interested and engaged. When you know more about your audience and their expectations, you'll be able to tailor your talk to make it more interesting. Your audience will be engaged and satisfied, and you will willingly accept their applause at the end. So as speakers, we tend to focus so much on content and delivery that we forget about the elements that help make our speech truly effective, which is the audience. So this is true. Most of the time we just focus on the topic and we forget the target audience. If we don't keep our audience in mind while writing and presenting for the speech, so if you don't keep them in your mind, maybe you won't have a successful presentation. So you should keep in mind to whom you are targeting, your target group. You have to know the level of them, whether they already have knowledge about your topic or not. Now I think we have to move to the next idea, which is number 9, don't read. One absolute don't in presentation is read in slides. Tell stories and talk to the slide, but by no means read the slide. When you are presenting, please, you shouldn't read from papers or from the slides. You give the impression that you don't know what you are talking about. You waste the audience's time, because if you are presenting using PowerPoint presentation slide, you are projecting the slides. The audience knows how to read. If you are just reading what is there, you are just wasting the time of the audience. And you reduce your chances for spontaneity. You have to be spontaneous and you have to interact with the audience. When you turn your back to them, there is no interaction. You are just reading. It is fine to refer to the screen. There is no harm if you refer to the screen occasionally to sync up where you are in the presentation. But don't read every slide. Don't read every word on a slide. Just highlight the important things you want the audience to be looking at on that slide. The slides are basically the notes I speak from. So bullets can act as prompts. They serve as visual cues, but they are not your script, and you shouldn't recite bullets word for word. When looking at the slide, look for keywords and read quickly to yourself, okay? Now, the next idea is make the complicated simple. You must be able to make the complicated simple. Speak to your audience in a way they can understand and avoid confusing them. Of course, simplicity is a complex undertaking. You cannot reach simplicity without understanding the complexity and subtleties of your topic. Your job is to make the complex easily graspable to your audience. By arriving at that, I mean, believe me, you will deliver a perfect presentation. So you have to, even if the presentation is difficult to understand, you have to make it easy, okay? Simple ideas, simplify your thoughts, and you have to find the core of the idea. Now, the core of your idea is the core of the presentation. Express that core in one simple and specific sentence. The ability to simplify means to eliminate the unnecessary so that the necessary may speak. You can, of course, sequence the items in order to make sense in presentation. Okay, so sequencing. Sequencing is, I think, essential because you put the ideas in order so that the audience is going to follow you step by step, so that the ideas are going to be clear and simple, not complicated. Another thing is that you can use diagrams. So diagram is a great visual demonstration that is going to clarify your ideas. You can also use charts. Of course, it depends on your presentation. You can use diagrams, you can use charts, you can use many things that will enable you to simplify the elements of the presentation. Now we have to move to number 11, which is adjust the mood in real time. Adjust the mood. You have to respond to the audience like a DJ. Yeah. A good DJ pays attention to how people are responding and can adjust the mood in real time. The same goes for presentations. Once on stage, it's the audience that will define what goes through and what is forgotten. So feeling their interest and responding is the key. So in addition to using audience analysis to help formulate speech content, we can also use our audience analysis to make adjustments during the actual speech. So these adjustments can pertain to the audience. The feedback you receive from your audience during your speech is a valuable indication of ways to adjust your presentation. If you are speaking, for example, after lunch, and you notice that some audience members looking drowsy, you can make adjustment to liven up the tone of your speech. You could use humor at that moment. You could raise your voice slightly. You could ask some questions and ask for a show or a show of hands to get your listeners actively involved. As another example, you may notice from frowns and handshaking that some listeners aren't convinced by the argument you are presenting. So in this case, you could spend more time on a specific area of your speech and provide more evidence than you originally intended. So good speakers can learn a lot by watching their audience while speaking and then make specific adjustments to both the content and delivery of the speech to enhance the speech's ultimate impact. The audience is all the time sending you what? Sending you non-verbal cues. Non-verbal cues. These non-verbal cues tell the speaker through actions that the audience is no longer attentive to the message. And of course, there are so many non-verbal cues that the audience might send. They can shake their heads. Okay, it means that they don't understand an idea or they don't agree with you. They can, sometimes you ask questions, they don't give you any response. It means that they are bored or they don't understand what you are saying. So there are so many non-verbal cues that will help you. If you understand these cues, you will be able to adjust the mood in real time to have a successful, of course, and appropriate presentation. Now, number 12, you have to provide, okay, let me go back to number 12. Provide context. Context helps everyone understand why they should want to learn to listen, why they would want to listen to your slide. So tell your story. How have the ideas you are presenting helped other people? What differences have they made in your life? The context you present will enable your audience to interpret your visuals the way you intended so that they can fully and easily understand your message. And context is the environment, background, or situation within which something occurs. So you have to, what is our objective during presentation? Is that you have to convince the audience about the ideas, about the points, about your topic as a whole. If you want to convince them, you have to provide them context. For example, if you are talking about the benefits, for example, your topic is going to be about the benefits of using humor at school. Now, you have to tell them a story, tell them a lifetime experience, provide them with context, talk about yourself, provide context to them so that they will be convinced that yes, humor is essential in studies. You can tell them about your experience, how does it help you during your studies. For example, you like the use of humor during a lesson, and you don't like to be serious all the time because if you are too serious, you can't cope with the task, etc. So you try to convince them by provide them context, okay? Now, number 13, have your takeaways clear. What is the one point that you want your audience to drive home? Your presentation should start by declaring a big idea that will be the takeaway. You should follow with 3 or 4 points that support the big idea, and then bring it back around and restate the idea to summarize. Now, come in with key takeaways for your audience to leave remembering. These are short, important pieces of information that are the main points or headers of your presentation. Now, how do you communicate this takeaway? You can put it straight in your presentation in bold fonts, in a slide for itself, or add it within the conclusion. As far as delivering a takeaway, the important thing to remember is repetition. Make your point, say it again, and then repeat what you said back to them during the course of the talk. Don't let them walk away without being completely clear about the presentation's goal. It's important to have a takeaway for every story. Presentation or lecture, of course, whether intended or unintended, it is what makes or breaks the learning experience for the audience. Now we have covered all 13 steps or the 13 tips that should be taken into consideration while preparing for the presentation. Now we have to move to closing your presentation. Now we come to the end of the presentation, okay? So there are some things to take into consideration at the end of the presentation. Now, during the conclusion, you have to remind them or go back again to your topic, to your subject. So that, you know, it's true that sometimes the last ideas of the presentations are the most remembered ones. The last items of the presentation. The audience is going to remember only the last ideas of your presentation. So that's why you have to remind them again of your topic, of the main idea of your topic. What I have been talking about in the last the last few minutes is, and then you have to summarize the key points. For example, if your presentation has 3 takeaways, just summarize those 3 quickly and summarize the main points. Okay, summarizing is essential. Summarize the main ideas of your topic in the conclusion. Number 3, the first thing I'd like to do when you leave here is, and then you call to action. Now, if your presentation has a call to action in it, make it the last thing you say. That will again be what people remember and inspire them to make the next step. The clearer and easier the call to action is, the more people will do it. If anyone who likes more information or has questions, of course, so what do we mean by call to action? Call to action is that you have to urge them to do the things that you have been talking about during the presentation. So the presentation is over, and then they should apply the things that they have learned during the presentation. And of course, you have the last thing is that you have, of course, to thank your audience, okay, thank them, and you can, at the end, ask them if there are questions to ask. If something is not clear for them, they can ask at the end of the presentation. So that was our first session. It is how to deliver a killer presentation. I explained to you the beginning of the presentation, what it should be look like, what are the elements that you should include in the presentation. I have also explained the 13 steps or tips which are important to take into consideration while you are preparing the presentation, so the body of the presentation, and then the conclusion in which you have to summarize again your main ideas, the key points, and you have to call to action, and you have to thank the audience, and you have also to let them ask any question to clarify, clarify the confusions or the unclear thoughts to the audience. So I hope that you understood the lesson. So if you have any question, please, the floor is yours. If you have any, let me just take a look at the of course, I will upload all the material on our Facebook page. Don't worry, okay? All the material you need will be there. And of course, you can find the material also on the faculty's website, but it takes time, okay? So just let's check the Facebook page, our Facebook page. From time to time, you will find the material there, okay? So our first lesson was about delivering a killer presentation. I have already uploaded the book that you need to start reading, because in this book you will find all the lessons that you need to cover during this semester. So please, you have to start reading it. And our next session will be next week, of course, for group 4. Next week, next Monday, same time. And we will be discussing, I have already uploaded the course syllabus, so please just go back to the course syllabus and read the elements, the items that we are going to cover next time. Try to prepare yourself, make some researches on the topic, okay? Yes, Fatima, do you have any question? Just write your question. Fatima Al-Aysati. Yes, Fatima. Yes, Bashir, for this presentation, it's not in the book, okay? It's not in the book, but I will provide you with the PowerPoint slides. But the other contents are in the book, so that's why you have to read the whole book and try to explain the ideas for yourself, because before joining me next time. Fatima, what do you mean? Google Classroom? Do you mean a class in Google Classroom? Actually, I haven't created one, but I will try. I will try to create one next time. You're welcome. You're welcome. So please, I want you to work hard, please. You know that we are running out of time. You don't have much time. and you have to prepare yourself for the exams, okay? Work hard. You are now autonomous learners. You have to work very hard. And of course, if you have anything that you need to clarify, you can contact me. I'm available all the time. Sulaiman, the book that I have uploaded on the Facebook page, if you, some students told me that they couldn't download the PDF copy. I think they have some problem with their phones or with their laptops. But if you can't download it from the Facebook page, you can just type the title of the book on Google, and then you will find it there. You will find it, I'm sure. Because the book is very necessary this year. Be careful, okay? Don't depend only on the slide, the PDF slide, the PowerPoint slides. No, you have to read the book, all of it, okay? And you have to make a lot of efforts. I know that. I know that you have to make a lot of efforts. Because we started teaching a little bit late, but anyway, we will see. We will see how we can do our best, okay? Zakaria, we've been studying for more than 1 hour, okay? I was waiting for all the students to join. So you have to take into consideration that online classes are not the same as face-to-face classes, okay? So we have to be flexible a little bit. We have to wait until all the students join the class so that I can start, because I am recording the lesson, okay? I am recording the session so that all of your friends who cannot have internet connection will see it on the can take a look at the lesson on the faculty's website. So that's why there are some trouble, I know, but we have to be flexible and tolerant, okay? Yes, Selma, yes, the book is called Study Skills for Successful Students. If you can't download it, just write the title on Google and then you will find it there. Because some students have difficulties in uploading the book. You're welcome, Selma. You're welcome. And please, you have to tell your friends that they have to join the online sessions. Please spread the news. They have to join, okay? And I urge you all the time to join the classes, the online classes, because it's the only way we can interact together. If you have any question, I can answer you and can provide you with my feedback, okay? It's not like typing a message on Messenger or on Facebook. So here we can speak, we can share our worries, our anything. We will talk about presentation next time, Morad. I am now actually recording the lesson. I will send it to Dr. Brahim Barhoun, and he will be in charge of uploading the session on the faculty's website, okay? So I think that's all for today. Let's call it a day, and I hope I can see you next time. Thank you everybody for your attention. Thank you for your interaction. So happy to meet you today. So happy to see you. Goodbye. Yes, goodbye and have a good day. Thank you.